Hey there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back. It's another episode of Red Pill Religion. Red Pill Religion, where we say nerd culture is nobody's political or religious or ideological property. It's something everybody gets to enjoy. So please support our work on redpillreligion.com. On Mondays, every Monday, we simply lay back and do a little nerd stream where we try and talk about nothing too serious. We like to talk about video games, comic books, all that kind of, superheroes, all that nerd jazz. But on other nights, we're doing other things. Tomorrow night, we're doing a serious show on anti-male bigotry and ideology from the American Psychological Association with Jim Wilcox. On Wednesday, we have John C. Wright coming in. We'll be talking about politics. On Thursday, we're going to be having an interview. Actually, on on Thursday, we're going to be having an interview with Ron Smith, an author of a recent book on mystical Christian prayer and meditation techniques. We're probably going to have on Christopher Lansdowne of Missing the Mark soon. So if you like the work we're doing here, please remember, in these days of social media censorship, you can always find us on redpillreligion.com. redpillreligion.com, where every day we are posting new videos, new articles, and I know the content. And if we ever do disappear off of YouTube again, because we're on our third channel, you should always be able to find out the latest of what we're up to and what we're doing. We are still waiting, kind of on hold with Subscribestar. We're still waiting, like a lot of people, to see what a good new platform will be. But for now, we're continuing here on YouTube. So, by the way, if you like to see this work, you want to continue growing, please hit that PayPal or Bitcoin tip jar. We could really appreciate it. And we are still hanging on Patreon for you bitter enders who's still on Patreon. Also, if you like and want to come say hi, please join us in the Red Pill Religion chat room. We tend to have a lot of fun in there. Please find us on gab.com at Red Pill Religion. Find us on minds.com at Red Pill Religion. Find us on Facebook at Red Pill Religion, and keep watching, because we're doing more stuff all the time. So tonight, joining us are, as usual on Mondays, Youngblood Ray. Say hi, Youngblood.
Greetings. It's your favorite Demon Slayer.
Good to see you, sir. Demon Slayer from Minnesota. And also joining us is our good friend, the common Neffel, also sometimes called Cromwell. Say hi to everybody, Neffel.
Yo, what up?
Well, okay, so we're just going to start seeing what's going on in video game land and nerd news land. So let's start by looking at what's going on. Bungie is apparently splitting from Activision and taking Destiny with it. Now that's interesting. I haven't followed Bungie real close over the years, but I mean, weren't they a Microsoft product for a while there? And then, no, I can't even keep track. So tell me what's going on with Bungie.
Yeah, you're sort of right there at first. Like, they worked with Microsoft on the Halo games, but when they split, Microsoft kept Halo, so that's why Halo's still with Microsoft. But, and everybody's happy about this. This is not a sad moment for anybody. People at Bungie were literally popping champagne when this news was announced. But so what happened is, I think everybody knows the Destiny games. A lot of people liked them, but there were a lot of microtransactions, and that ruined the experience for a lot of people. And what had happened is, last week, Bungie basically decided, you know what, we're splitting from Activision. We're taking our ball and we're going somewhere else.
Well, I mean, I guess there's been a lot of problems then, but with the company, huh?
Yeah, because Activision, they were probably the forefront. I can't talk. They were the forefront for this with all nickel and diming. They will, and they still do it too. They're doing it with Call of Duty, Black Ops 4 right now. But nickel and diming you for everything and putting all these microtransactions in.
Hey, all right. Our friend Mr. Brass has also chosen to join us. How you doing tonight, Brass?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I ended up getting the Discord back on my phone, so I was able to come on.
So basically, Activision has been the ones really pushing the in-game microtransaction thing, huh?
Oh yeah, those are becoming a lot more common these days.
Oh, they
yeah,
are.
crap.
And it's disgusting, actually. It's disgusting.
Well, I mean, look at Fortnite, for example. It's a allegedly free game, but it's one of the most profitable games ever because of all the microtransactions.
That game is on my Switch. I refuse to play it.
That's
Really?
lovely.
Well, it's really sad because I mean I don't know. I mean the companies may be able to say, well, we're making money, so leave us alone. If you don't like our game, don't play it. But I mean, as soon as I see the microtransactions going in, when I see how bloated and bad so much game development is, I'm just like, whatever, dude. I mean, they put out products. They're basically their customers beta test their stuff for them, and at this point, half the time, their customers are alpha testing for them. You buy a game and wait for all the patches to get fixed, and then now more and more I mean, they used to be able to make a game for the equivalent of $60-$70 and have it be really pretty solid when it was released. And you know who does still seem to manage to do that? Actually, it's a little bit of a change of subject, but we're going to mention it anyway. I've noticed that unless something's changed, Nintendo games don't seem to be plagued with that constant need for updates, do they?
Oh no, they still play pretty good. Like there's still DLC, but I don't hate DLC as long as like it's not like trying to rip you off.
Well, yeah, my problem with DLCs nowadays is that here's what they do. They give you half the game and you pay them to unlock the other half of the game. Like a lot of the characters and everything are already on the disc. They're just making you pay for them to unlock them on the disc.
Oh man, it's like, God damn it! I don't know why. I hope microtransactions kind of lose popularity already and realize that's no longer profitable.
I think most gamers have made it clear that they don't mind, if there are things you can buy in the game that are totally, cosmetic or just fun, a neat backpack, a neat outfit, a cool looking weapon that's not really an overpowered weapon, it's just another weapon, right? But the mentality has been just milk as much as they can from the audience, and I think almost everybody's rebelling. I mean, maybe not, right? They're arguing that. Well, I mean, isn't their argument that they just keep making money, so shut up?
Yeah, that is, and
Yep.
And like I'd say a favorable way to do downloadable content is Fire Emblem Fates. I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan, so I may be biased here, but they basically added epilogues, but they really didn't make it so like, oh, you want to finish this game, you got to pay for it. Like you can still finish the game, but you can like basically play an epilogue if you want.
Which yeah, it's sometimes like. If you don't buy the DLC, you don't get any good endings of the game. You just get stuck with a shitty ending.
Yeah, Dead Space.
Yeah. I love that game, though. That was a very graphic game. I loved it for that.
Well, speaking of Nintendo, Ray, you also brought up an interesting story that it looks like Nintendo's got new content guidelines making it easier for YouTube creators to get paid. Here's a thing on... The Verge. It's interesting how the game.
Sorry about that.
Oof.
God damn it.
What did you do again, young blood Ray?
Oh no,
What did I tell you, young blood?
We don't want to hear about your technical issues. Let's go ahead and get them sorted out. So anyway,
okay, sorry about that, man.
If you have a technical issue, just mute yourself till you fix it. In any case, one of the things that has been going on is that a lot of people like to make gameplay videos where they talk while they're recording videos, and either to either to make commentary on the video or to just be funny or whatever they want to do. And it's been getting too complicated to do this. It looks like, at least for YouTube creators, Nintendo's made a smart move. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Because in the past, what would happen is, like, say a YouTuber did make a video, like, they wouldn't lose the video, but Nintendo would copyright that, they would run ads on it, and they would get the money. So what would happen now is, like, I believe in November, they got rid of their creator program, which basically did cause all that. So basically now, a YouTuber, if YouTube doesn't act anally or attentive about it, they will get the money if they're monetized.
Interesting. It's funny how these companies go through phases, right? I mean, I remember 10 years ago, a lot of people, especially when the Wii came out, a lot of gamers were mad at Nintendo because they just kind of stiffed the hardcore gamer audience. But then they kind of paid for that, and you know, they seem to be going out of their way to be making really good content again on the Nintendo platform. They're excellent again, and they figured out you need to be friendly to your to your audience that makes videos about you. They make you more popular. That's what you should be looking for, and it looks like they figured that out. God knows what YouTube will do long term, though.
Yeah, because like I know with the Switch, now they're definitely going back to a lot of third-party hardware because for the longest time it was either like shovelware or you get the Nintendo game. Now that is not the case.
Well, the indie scene is booming, really.
Oh yeah, definitely some good games out there.
Oh yeah, a lot, and pretty much with game production is becoming cheaper and cheaper. That good old-fashioned 2D games are making a comeback.
Yeah, the old is new nowadays. So Max is back in style.
I'm back in style. I'm not surprised. There's only the classic 2D video games and the classic 2D platformers were popular for a reason, you know, and some of them are just, you know, for the same reason that people still play chess, you know, or pool. They still or even snooker or whatever. Or billiards.
I play pool. I like that. I like pool.
Yeah, pool is fun.
Yeah, and that game or variations on it is just ancient, right?
Yeah. So is basketball if you really abstract it.
Well, certainly ball-based games for sure. Kick the ball and run with the ball and throw the ball is just there's no reason those 2D platformers shouldn't still be popular. They're as good as they ever were. Although I do think it says one thing. There was this time period that I think is starting to pass now where everybody in gaming was looking for the latest, the most high frame rate, the highest resolution, the most mind-blowing graphics. And I think we've actually reached a point where there's no such thing as a mind-blowing graphic anymore. And people are probably more interested in the content and the gameplay.
Yeah, so true.
I mean, with me, it's like I know so many good games that have such beautiful graphics, but there's really no substance in the stories, or you know, and there's no substance in the stories, and there's just the gameplay is awful. It's like it feels like you're just watching a movie when you're not. You didn't pay to watch a movie.
On the other hand, I can still play and enjoy a game like Fallout New Vegas, which is clearly out of date in terms of its graphical capabilities, and maybe could use a bit of a facelift. But really, that game does not rest on its its high-res graphics. It rests on its its feel and its play style and its storytelling, and that's what really matters in a game. I believe. I mean. Yeah, I really feel like that era is passing. I remember I used to be real into it too. I was really couldn't wait to see how hot the new graphics were going to be on the latest, greatest video game. And now I'm like, well, they've done just about everything you could do. Anything now is just going to be artistic and creative. I mean, not everything falls into what we're saying here either, because like even still, like Breath of the Wild is still from Zelda is still They did it all right, though. They did the story right and the lush, beautiful graphics. Although even then, they're not trying to be the most high res. They're just trying to be the most beautiful.
Yep, and they really do love their aesthetics.
Right? Cause yeah, I have like a bevy of those. Like I'll play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I'll also play and I'm probably gonna get some autism comments in our section, but Sonic Mania, which is also a 2D platformer, and I have fun with both those types of games.
I have. Somebody's asking what are the thoughts on the Nintendo Switch Online. I don't have a Nintendo Switch. I'm afraid to get one. Does anybody else have one?
Well, like I said in the comments here, I kind of wish I didn't have to pay for Nintendo Switch Online, but I'm kind of glad because they probably could have made it like really steep. For a year subscription, it's only like $20, so I'm at least thankful for that. I just wish I didn't have to pay altogether.
Well, don't worry. Pretty soon you'll be able to just rip it off and put it on, get it from online, like everyone else does. I mean, have you remembered like
cheap?
you remember like how back in when Super Mario originally came out, I think it costed like $40 or $50 or something like that, or even more when it first came out. But now you can just get it online for free, and it's even playable on just online generally.
Right.
So I mean, that's pretty much going to be everything. You just have to give it a bit.
Yeah, exactly, because it's like only a year old.
I have a motto: bootleg as much as you possibly can bootleg.
Well, let me ask you this, Neffel. I want to ask you about this. This is a little bit of a change of subject, but when we come to Nerdstream, everybody brings a link to something they like to talk about. What on earth is awe?
It's essentially basically like a DIY website, like a DIY a channel where a bunch of guys could also weld and make weapons, and sometimes historical weapons, but also weapons based from popular fantasy series.
Oh, you mean Man of Arms?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm subscribed to that. They're good. I remember they made He-Man's sword, and they made Thor's hammer. They're a good channel. It's amazing all the craftsmanship that they put into it.
So are they like making replicas of swords from movies and stuff like that?
Yeah, more or less. They like you'll see like they'll have let's say they'll have Lion-O's sword from Thundercats. They'll make a 3D model of it, and then they'll print it out. I mean, they'll not print it out. They'll weld it and make it a legit sword.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They made Sora's sword too. Which
they actually made the Keyblade?
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that.
I know. I can't remember. Wait, I'm trying to think. There was another guy. There was this other anime guy that had this huge sword. Oh yeah, I think they made Guts' hammer. Not Guts' hammer, Guts' sword. From I can't remember the show that he was on. Guts, the anime character.
Which one did you say you wanted to see?
Keyblade.
Berserk. Oh, Berserk.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Berserk. Okay, let's see if we can pull it up. Guts pre-Dragon Slayer sword. There you go. There you go. There you go. Man-at-Arms Reforged. This one here?
Yeah, that sword.
Well, but that's just a big giant sword. Okay.
I know.
Never mind.
That's the point.
So they're going to sit there and they're going to make this weapon in a real forge.
If I may point out the obvious, it wouldn't be very helpful in a real battle.
Oh yeah, obvious.
I mean, because you would pull your back out just trying to pick it up.
I would think so. Yeah. All right, here it comes. It's coming out of the forge. Man, I bet you they put a lot of work into these. How do they make their? I bet you they sell these for a pretty penny.
Well, I mean, they've worked with movie companies, and they work with movie companies, and the movie companies pay them like sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for their work and services.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah. You can see, obviously, in real life, you could never use this thing. I mean, not in battle, you'd be so slow. I mean, sure, you could take out 3 or 4 guys at once.
Yeah, but then you would pull your back out, and that'd be the end of it.
Well,
They
yeah.
got the
Plus,
100 others.
as soon as you swung, your back would be to your opponents, and they could get in on you. You'd be so slow. But this is cool, and actually, this is obviously pure nerdery. This is obviously pure nerdery. Reverse blade katana. Oh, okay. Let's see the Warhammer. I want to see Sigmar's Warhammer. That's got to look pretty sweet. Wow.
Hey, look.
What? Go ahead.
Look.
What?
Kind of looks like you when you get older, Max.
Oh, shut up. Actually looks like you when you're my age. Of course, that won't be until the 30th century, but still. These are good 15, 20, 25-minute long videos showing.
Oh yeah, they go really in detail about everything how much work they put into it. They use state-of-the-line welding tools.
Listen, oh, look at that! Look at that! Oh my goodness, they did it right, I guess.
Yep.
That totally looks like wow! Look at that! Bam!
Oh man! Bam!
Smash!
That is badass.
That is a badass Warhammer right there. That was, of course, he's going to sledge the watermelon. Of course.
Well, I mean, it's the closest replica to a human head.
Oh wow!
They're kind of replicating the work of a very obscure, cheesy comedian called Gallagher here.
Oh yeah.
Remember that guy?
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
A sledge-o-matic. Well, the Warhammer sledge-o-matic is even better than the regular one. That's cool. And so really, and this is ultimate guy nerd stuff too. Who sits and watches people make weapons? What I want to know, I see here they're making a Klingon bat'lath. That shows how nerdy I am. I know what a bat'lath is, but that's because I've seen every episode of every Star Wars Trek series until the latest. Because I'm.
Well, I mean, you're old as hell, Max. You've been there since the beginning.
Well, that's true. It really is pretty close to true. I don't think I wasn't old enough to watch it when it first aired, but I mean, I watched it when it was first on television in what's called syndication, starting in the late '60s and early '70s. So yeah, I mean, I've seen every Star Trek, and I suppose that could bring up one for me to rant about.
Wasn't all the members on Star Trek pretty much atheist?
There is a definite. Gene Roddenberry was anti-religious, and there's no question. Not only was he more or less atheistic in his thinking and anti-religious, but the atheist movement has latched on to Star Trek as part of its kind of identitarian thing.
Yeah.
That's actually even why you'll see that A logo with the swoop line. Roddenberry kind of encouraged them to do that. So yeah, there is that taint on Star Trek. Although Star Trek has not always been, overtly anti-religious, and sometimes even has been known to be sensitive to it in at least some way.
Well, I mean, I asked because I know Picard and the guy who played Picard and the guy who played Kirk are both atheist. Well, Kirk, the guy who plays Kirk is more of an animist, but he doesn't believe in God.
William Shatner?
Yeah.
Could be. He's no atheist. But it wouldn't surprise me if he's some kind of animist. I never cared because I always liked the good stories. But yes, it's a hidden subtext in a whole lot of Star Trek material that religion is backward and people don't even have religion anymore because they're too smart to have it anymore. It's not too in your face about it, but it's kind of a subtext that's very popular in Star Trek. That's gotten more and more overt over time. Although apparently they've got at least one religious man on the new Star Trek Discovery. The problem is, if you look at reviews, the new Star Trek Discovery has alienated and offended so many fans. And guess what? Huh? I was going to say, guess what? It's alienated and offended so many fans because it's gone. It's part of that whole get woke, go broke thing that's going on. It's very social justice lefty. It's very in your face. It's very lecturing. The characters are not likable. They have a female Star Trek starship captain, but of course, instead of making her interesting as the captain and somebody people should like, she's just nasty. Basically, she's an angry feminist all the time, and so that doesn't work.
But that's your typical woman nowadays.
Ha.
And here's the thing.
And what was worse is that okay. Long story short, CBS owns the Star Trek property for television, and they made it exclusive for this new CBS streaming service. So to get the new Star Trek, to get it online, you had to sign up for the exclusive CBS streaming service in order to be able to see it online.
Or you just wait until someone downloads, someone records it and then puts it on another website.
Well, and fans don't want to do that. I mean, some fans will do that, but most fans aren't going to do that. Or if they do, they still want to see it legitimately. Let me make the point that they did that, and there was nothing on CBS Access that particularly attracted anybody, including Star Trek fans. But they were capitalizing on basically the Star Trek fan base. CBS knows will come out for anything. But they're learning what some of the video game companies are learning too, which is that, yeah, Star Trek fans will come out for anything. And so they got a lot of people to sign up at first for the CBS streaming service, and then a whole ton of people just canceling. And Star Trek fan groups all over the place encouraging people to avoid Star Trek Discovery, and it's been a complete disaster because of the way politics has entered into it, and taking advantage of a fan base has entered into it. I was just watching a video, a rant by Tim Pool, which I linked, which I should upvote. And Tim Pool, who's even a moderate lefty himself, has a 12-minute rant on how in the video game industry, the same thing is happening. Fans are being taken advantage of. Loyal fans are being taken advantage of. And companies are putting in ideology. They are, like historically accurate things in period piece video games are being removed, and things are being fictionalized in history, so people don't know what the honest history is. In games that are supposed to be historically accurate, not fantasy games, right? Games are being banned because they've got the Confederate flag in them. It's going on and on and on, and it seems like most of Hollywood and the there's a dovetail with Hollywood and the video games industry, and this is happening in publishing and book publishing too. It's all become lopsided political narrative and cheap, fast ways to grab cash. This seems to be happening everywhere.
If you want to see an example of historical inaccuracies, just watch The Highlander.
Yeah, but okay, nobody goes into the Highlander expecting anything that accurate, right? I mean, it's about immortal guys who gain power by killing each other over periods of thousands of years. What do you want?
Oh wait, not Highlanders. I'm trying to think. What was that one with Mel Gibson was in where he played William Wallace?
Mel Gibson.
Braveheart.
Braveheart. Yeah, Braveheart.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Braveheart.
Braveheart was not very historically accurate at all. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't try giving him a feminist nemesis who defeated.
Don't give them any ideas.
And half of his men were not black and Arabic and Chinese. You know, they didn't at least do that. That's what I'm talking about with the in-your-faceness with the political messaging. This has happened to Doctor Who. This has happened to tons of video games. It's happened to Star Trek. It's just people are sick. People don't mind a political slant, especially because, you know, maybe some shows got a slant one way and another show's got a slant another way. But it seems like all this content is they're just all these content creators, the big companies, just seem to be concentrating on how can we get the maximum cash for the minimal effort. And by the way, here's our social justice moralizing at you. It's pathetic, especially because feminists, from what I can tell, feminists and social justice leftists do not really like video games or nerd stuff. Hell, I think we learned that in Gamergate.
Right?
Yep.
But, you know, what are you going to do? I think I know what's going to happen, though, with that is eventually it's just not going to work. And the companies that keep doing this are going to go under or have to start firing people, or they're going to be replaced by competitors. But,
Or
you know,
all three.
yeah, well, although, you know, what's scary is that we can see how, you know, leftist the narrative, even financial companies are and various corporations are getting in on the game of censoring content. You know, that's what's I hate to go into something negative, but I mean, all the troubles that we saw with maker support that's gone now, and Subscribestar that's still struggling, Gab going through most of a year just trying to stay alive.
Yep.
They appear to be stable now. YouTube demonetizing and deplatforming so many people, so many places. I'm often scared. You know, I used to have faith that the free market would fix these things, but it appears that there is no free market, and that certain entities.
Not as long as the banks have all the power.
Well, I hate to say it, but that seems to be what's going on. I don't want to get too deep into that, though. We were here mostly to talk about video games.
Yeah.
And having fun. So, you know, maybe we should go back to that and just say, oh, you know what, I would like to take I would like to take one of these weapons from the Awe channel, the Awe Me channel, and womp on them. No, not literally true. Somebody will probably just say, he's threatening violence. No. That is
I don't
actually
know why. It's just you know, you're a fan of the series and you like you like their work.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and actually, that's one of the look at the.
Hey, look, my dad.
The thing is, I think I have always thought this. I've studied some martial arts enough. You know, I'm not a martial arts expert, but I've studied martial arts enough. I have never believed that the bat'lath would be a good weapon. Although, I mean, I guess it might be good at fighting someone who has a sword.
Yeah, probably.
And catching their sword.
But everybody knows that the best weapon is a spear.
It just does not look like in a real world it would work. Although it is still wicked cool looking.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I always thought what's a nice weapon is like one of those giant slingshots. Like those catapults that they had back in the medieval times. Those are always awesome.
Oh yeah. I always thought.
Oh, and by the way, if you can't tell already, I'm going all Crusader in this stream.
Awesome. We'll enjoy that. Okay, so wait a minute. They don't just do weapons on here, huh? They do other types of things on this channel. Well, we've gone ahead and linked it in the low bar, so be sure to go and check it out. Okay, so they're doing other things you find from movies and stuff like that. Spider-Man DIY suit.
The Millennium Puzzle from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh god, my child.
That's a classic.
I love that. I like the newer seasons of. I mean, I like the older seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the beginning ones. The newer ones were just horrible.
I kind of like. I think it was good up to 5. I think 5Ds was probably the last time it got good.
I agree with you, Nuffle.
Like the original series.
Here's the problem I have.
Especially if you watch the original Japanese version, or if you read the manga,
or both.
You're saying Hollywood. Well, you know what? I'm going to guess. I was going to say the problem. I was immediately wondering, Hollywood purchases weapons like these. People would get hurt with them on the set. But now I'm thinking, no. Obviously, the actors are not going to be using these replicas, but they're going to want to have them in the background on a movie set or whatever.
Well, I mean, the actors know how to. They're trained to know how to use them.
Oh yeah, and they definitely do not use real weapons. Even the stuntmen do not use real weapons. That would just be just for insurance purposes alone. Like, what, really? You're going to actually swing a sword at a guy because he's good enough to duck it? No, you're not playing with real swords on the set. But
well, I mean, he has sort of an incentive to duck, you could say.
Yeah.
Kind of has a point there.
Yes, he does, but still, the lawsuits would be all crazy. So, and plus, your stars. You can only go through so many stuntmen, and your stars are only going to take so many risks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you heard about how the guy that played Harry Potter's stunt double actually became a crippled on set.
No, I didn't, but it wouldn't surprise me. That does happen.
Yeah, basically what happened was that they were doing an explosion scene, and what happened is it ended up launching the stunt double against the wall, and it broke his spine.
Oh, man. See? And that sort of thing is actually why in Hollywood often even it'll be mandatory, because it would have, I mean, you hate to be so mercenary about it, but it was a stunt double. If they had actually hurt the star that way, it would have messed up the whole series.
Right, and
often in Hollywood under contract.
I think the only star that actually did his own stunts and got hurt doing them was a Jackie Chan.
Well, yeah, because no insurance company will, in their right mind, actually insure him.
There was a time up until the 70s or 80s when stars would still, you'd occasionally hear about a star doing his own stunts, but it even came about that guys like Lee Majors and who was that guy who was Magnum PI? I'm so old. The guy with the big mustache. He's still around too. Huh?
Burt Reynolds?
Yeah, Burt Reynolds. That was Tom Selleck. But I was thinking of Burt Reynolds. For example, Burt Reynolds, like some stars, came up as a stuntman, and he always took pride in doing his own stunts. And then one day on a film he was making with Clint Eastwood, somebody broke a chair over his head in a fight, and they screwed up and used a real chair. And it messed him up for like 3-4 years and nearly ended his career.
What was funny? What happened? Yeah. A guy who also did his own stunt one time was Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. What happened was in one scene is this was before they were doing the takes. They were doing, I can't remember which one was Ivan Drago in, which Rocky one that was in. I think that was like Rocky 2 or something.
I believe that was
like Rocky 3 actually.
Yeah, but what happened was on the set, Sylvester Stallone said, he wanted to see if he could really take a punch. So he told the actor Dolph Lundgren to really hit him in the face.
Oh.
And Dolph Lundgren, obliged and actually did it. Rocky was in a coma for 3 days.
Oh.
And Dolph Lundgren was very worried about him. And when Rocky eventually woke up, Dolph Lundgren was next to him, and Stallone said, "Did I win?"
What do you say in that situation?
And little stories like that actually are. Oh, and you had the famous case of Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee.
Yeah, he died on set from what they thought it was a prop gun, but it turned out it was actually loaded.
Well, no, it wasn't even. Basically, it wasn't a real gun, but yeah, it went off, and they thought he was just joking, and yeah, he died on set. There was a guy in the 80s that happened to. I remember hearing about this one guy in the 80s. It was in some time travel show, and the show ended really abruptly because they had one of those fake guns with blanks on the set, and he took it and he put it up as a joke. He put it up right up to against his temple and shot it off, and it was enough. It ruptured the blood vessels and killed him on the set with one of the fake guns because he was just joking and put it right up on his head and right at that spot in his temple, and he killed himself.
Oh yeah,
that's
And
Darwin's natural selection for you.
yeah, because the blanks you still can't have it that close to your head.
No, I know. But still, I mean, I guess that's just why I was making the point when we look at these these awe videos and you think, oh, yeah, somebody in Hollywood is going to be using this. I'm like, no, it would only be in the background. They'd probably actually yell at the stars if they were playing with these, and the stuntman would be like, no, I'm not picking that up and fighting with it.
Or what they would do is they might use it, but they'd only use it for like maybe one or two scenes, like very briefly.
Yeah, or just to hold it in a pose,
Yeah.
But it would still be cool to have something like
or
this.
what they might do is they might edge off they might make the sword more blunt so it's not sharp. So it would, if you did get hit with it, it would just be a little whack. It wouldn't be like you would cut you.
Well,
Right.
and these are obviously not designed to be used in real life. A real sword.
Oh wait, what? You're not seriously telling me that someone wouldn't use Gutch's sword from Berserk in real life? No,
It'd be
shut
too heavy. You'd have to be like really, really strong to lift.
Well, that was really crazy.
I'm merely making the point that most of these weapons would not be practical in real combat, and they're not designed for it. That's all. And they probably aren't that careful with the grade of steel and all that a real swords maker would be. But that's, what, I'm just overpicking. Well, this has been fun. I think we can just probably close the stream up now. Did anybody have anything else nerdy they wanted to say or talk about?
No, I'm pretty good. How are you? What about you guys?
Anybody else got any closing thoughts? All right, everybody. Well, please be sure to find and subscribe to Mr. Brass's channel. Also, be sure to subscribe to the Common Neffel. As I mentioned, Mondays are just our laid-back stream. Tomorrow night, we're going to have Jim Wilcox in again. We're going to talk more about the problem of female-perpetrated violence and propaganda at the American Psychological Association. On Wednesday, John C. Wright will be here. On Thursday, we got an interview with a guy with a book of Christian mystical practices. We are here every night, and it looks like we're soon going to develop ourselves into two channels. One, this Red Pill Religion channel, and the old channel repurposed for more general live streams like this one. So we're probably going to have this channel is going to be more straight up serious. And the old channels would probably be more for streams like this. We'll have some announcements on that in the next week or two. All right, everybody. So please give us a like. Please give us a subscribe. Please just find us on redpillreligion.com. Max, Neffel, Brass, great seeing you. God bless everybody.